Hey Krishna. So welcome all of you all on this 10th part of Ram Katha. So as usual, let's start with our Mangalacharan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunvitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we read the Mangalacharan for Ramayana. For Valmiki ji. Ko jantam ram ramiti maduram maduraksharam आरोह्य कविता शाखां वंदे वाल्मीकि कोकिलं वाल्मीकि मुनि सम्मासया कविता वनचारिणः शृण्वान् राम कथानादं को नायति परां गतिं यः पिबन् सततं रामं चरितामृतसागरम् अतृप्तं मनिं वन्दे प्राचेतसामकल्मषम्. फॉर हनुमान जी. गोष्पदी कुरुत वारिसं मस्की कुरुत राक्षसं रामायणं महामालां रत्नं वन्दे अनिलात्मजम्. अंजननंदवीरम जानकी शोकनाशनम कपिस अक्षहंतारम वंदे लंका भयंकरम. मनोजवम मारुततुल्यवेगम जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतात्मं वारिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयुद्धमुख्यं श्रीरामसूतं शिरसं नमामि. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So we had discussed in the earlier part that how Hanumanji was being reminded of his powers by Jamvan, who had forgotten because of his mischievous activities and got cursed by the Rishi when he was young. And now with the renewed energy and getting back his remembrance, Hanuman prepared to leave for Lanka. So he climbed on to the Mahendra Parvat, and from there he was preparing to take a leap, a giant leap to reach Lanka. So from this point our Kishkinda Kand gets over and Sundara Kand starts from this point. So Hanumanji climbed on the top of the Mahendra Parvat to take off. He started concentrating his entire energy and started focusing himself. It is said that when he was planning to take off from the Mahendra Parvat, the whole mountain was literally trembling and crushing. Lot of rocks, big rocks, big trees started crumbling. And finally, with one desire, one goal of fulfilling the mission of Lord Ramchandraji, Hanuman was focused on his giant leap. Hanuman then declared, either I shall bring back Sita or I shall uproot entire Lanka along with Ravan. Hanuman sprang into the sky like a rocket, like an arrow crushing many trees. In fact, when he took this leap, many trees, plants and other things followed him because of the wind pressure and what scattered everywhere. It is said that the flowers which got scattered by the wind force of his jump had beautified the whole area. Finally, when Hanuman took his leap, and his shadow on the surface of the water was measuring 80 miles by 240 miles. So from this you can understand how big, gigantic form Hanuman must have taken to complete his mission. The ocean deity once was helped by Lord Ramchandraji's ancestors, so he wanted to repay back his in-debt to his ancestors. So the ocean asked Mainak Parvat, which was placed in such a position that it will block the hole to the Patal Loka, and he told the Mainak Parvat to raise up from the bottom of the sea and give a resting place to Hanuman so that he could get some rest for the service of the Lord. In earlier days, mountains had wings and they used to fly like big, huge Garudas. It so happened that once all the sages and many demigods were always in fear that these mountains may come and fall on them. So Indra got angry and took his thunderbolt and cut off all their wings. At that time, Vayu Devata had pushed Mainak Parvat down into the ocean. So the Mainak Parvat still had its wings. So Mainak Parvat came out to serve Hanumanji. It took a human form and requested Hanuman, please take rest on me. On that, Hanuman said, I am on the service of my Lord. I cannot give a break to my service. And right now, it's not the time for me to rest. I am on a duty. So please excuse me. Even on repeated request by Mainak, Hanumanji just obliged that mountain by just touching it with his hand and went further on ahead. Finally, he received the blessings from Mainak. Here, Indradev saw the whole proceedings and he told Mainak, don't worry, your wings will be as it is. I will not cut off your wings. When Hanuman proceeded further ahead, he saw a next impediment of his journey. All the celestial sages, demigods and Gandharvas had approached Sursa, the mother of the Nagas, requesting her, we would like to ascertain the real strength of Hanuman. So will you please create an impediment for him so that we come to know how focused and how powerful Hanuman is. Immediately, Sursa took a form of a huge Rakshasi and came in the path of Hanuman's route to Lanka. The Rakshasi opened her mouth wide and told, Hanuman, you will have to enter my mouth. Hanumanji was whole route when he was jumping, he was saying only one thing, Jai Shri Ram. But since he had the Ashtasiddhis, he could speak through any pore of his body. He told Mainak Parvat, Sursa Rakshasi, that I cannot enter your mouth now. I am on a seva to my Lord. However, I will enter your mouth after I come back and finishing my duties. I shall definitely come back and enter your mouth. But Sursa said, no, I have got Brahma's benediction. No one can pass in front of me without entering my mouth. So as per the benediction, you will have to enter my mouth. Hanuman realized that he could not explain to her and convince her. So he used his intelligence. He started growing bigger So Sursa Rakshasi opened her mouth still wider. Still Hanuman went on expanding himself, and accordingly Sursa also was keeping her mouth expanding. Finally, at a certain moment, in a split of a second, Hanuman just shrunk himself to a very small size and entered her mouth and came out. And he said, "See, I have kept up your word. You said I have to enter your mouth, and I have entered your mouth and I have come out." Sursa was very happy. She blessed him on behalf of all the demigods and the sages. May you be successful in your journey, and your power is invincible. You will be surely successful in your journey. Finally, Hanuman continued his journey towards Lanka. During this last lap of his leap, he suddenly found himself stationary. He could not move ahead. He was wondering what is happening. What is the Maya Shakti which is holding him? And then when he saw inside the water, he could see Shimika, the Rakshasi. She had a very powerful method of catching the prey. She used to catch the shadow of anyone who was to go on through the aerial route, and by catching the shadow, she used to devour the person. Hanuman realized that here I will have to kill this Rakshasi. So again he expanded himself to a very gigantic size. The Rakshasi also opened her mouth bigger and bigger. Suddenly Hanuman became small and entered her mouth and directly went into her stomach and tore her body apart with his hands, thus killing the Rakshasi on the spot. Here Acharyas give a very nice explanation. Whenever a pure devotee or an aspiring devotee is on the process of serving the Lord, three impediments is sure to come in his life. The first impediment is represented by Mainak Parvat. What did the mountain tell him? Please rest on me. A devotee who is focused on his journey to the service of the Lord should never sit down and relax. He should immediately continue ahead with this motto or his process of seva given to him, rather than sitting in and taking rest. And generally, whenever a pure sadhaka tries, he is offered some nice luring things by which he will be forced to take rest. But an intelligent devotee is one who doesn't succumb to these offers and continues further ahead in his service. The second impediment, which was represented by Sursa Rakshasi, it represents you will be tested in your focus. The first one is offering some nice resting time, whereas the second impediment is something which is going to test your determination, and that is how Sursa Rakshasi was testing the determination of Hanuman, and Hanuman passed that test also. And that is what will happen with all endeavoring devotees. We may come up with certain situations which will be very difficult to tackle. Our devotional service, our devotional life, and balancing it with our material life will be very, very difficult. That is the reason this is a test for us. And an intelligent devotee should very smartly pass over this obstacle also. Finally, the third obstacle, which is represented by this heinous Rakshasi. What does that mean? Shimika means they are the real impediments which you are going to face. The earlier two were not the real impediments. They were offering you rest. The second was checking your determination. But the third one is actual impediment or the actual challenge which you have to overcome in the service of the Lord. And Hanuman in this way proved to us and taught us how one has to do devotional service to his Lord. So finally, completing these 3 impediments, Hanuman landed in Lanka. On reaching Lanka, on an overall inspection, he saw this was a very nice and well guarded city. It is totally difficult to enter inside the city. So how come we plan to enter in? And he was wondering how come Ramchandraji and his monkey army would enter into this. Finally, he took a decision that after sunset, he will enter the city, unnoticed by everyone. So he was waiting for the sun to set. Finally, when the sun set, he disguised himself as a small monkey, as small as a cat, and was going to enter the Lanka. At that time, Lankini stopped him. With a thump on his tail, she said, where are you going? How can you enter into Lanka without my knowledge and my permission? On that, Hanuman very humbly said, see, I am a very small monkey. I just want to enter the city and have a small stroll in the city. If I get some fruits, I will eat. And I will come out the same way I have gone in. I am going in the same way I will come out. On that, Lankini said, no, there is no place for monkeys inside the city. Hanuman again requested her very politely. But Lankini was very harsh. She finally said very strong. In a strong manner, she told, no means no, you are not entering inside Lanka. And she pushed him down with a thump. On that, Hanuman was very much enraged, and with his left hand, though considering her to be a lady, slapped Lankini. Lankini vomited blood. She remembered what Brahmaji had once told her. Brahmaji had said, the day a monkey slaps you, Ravana's death is inevitable. Remembering that, she asked for forgiveness from Hanuman, and she said, yes, one day Brahmaji had told me that I will be slapped by a monkey, and that very day is going to be the starting of the doom of Lanka and Ravan also. I am giving you the permission, please enter the city. So finally, Hanuman entered Lanka. When he saw the city, he was wondering whether it is some place of some demigods or something. Very beautiful golden Lanka with well laid roads, nice gardens, beautiful mansions. Now the biggest problem in front of Hanuman was, where would he search Sita? So from apartment to apartment, house to house, building to building, Hanuman started searching for Sita Maiya. In the process of his search, he saw many people, many ladies in a disarrayed manner, trying to enjoy the love with their husbands. But then Hanuman had no choice. He looked around the city for a long time, but he could not find Sita Maiya. Finally, he decided, I will go to the palace of where Ravan stays. He entered that palace of Ravan, and it's so beautifully described. Each and every bed made of ivory, walls made of gold, and a fantastic gold linings for the couches and everything. Seeing all that, Hanuman was wondering what opulence Ravan is having. He went into each and every room of Ravan's palace, and there were hundreds and hundreds of beautiful damsels sitting over there. There were kinnaras, there were yakshas, nagakanyas, so many varieties of ladies, and each were as brilliant as the sun, so beautiful, but in very bad situation. They were all in intoxication and enjoying some way or the other some sexual enjoyment. Hanuman for a second thought, what am I doing? I am a brahmachari. I am not supposed to see all this. I am not just a brahmachari, I am a naistik brahmachari. And this is the last thing on the earth which I should see. Will I fall down by this process? But then, after a second thought, he realized, no, I am on the service of my Lord, and it is not for of my sense pleasure that I am seeing each and every room and seeing each and every lady disrobed and with arrayed lying down on the bed. And another secret which Hanuman, by which could he control himself, was he was continuously chanting the name of the Lord. Ram, Ram, Ram. He was continuously chanting the name. By that, he got the power to not get succumbed to anything. So, jumping from one room to another, finally, he came to Ravan's room. And Ravan's room was literally like heaven. Ravan was sleeping on a silken bed, and he could see all the wound marks on his body. On the first sight of Ravan, Hanuman felt how handsome he is. Could he be Ravan? He doesn't look in any form in a bad way. He is looking as beautiful as a demigod. Seeing all over the palace, besides Ravan, he saw on another bed Mandodari lying there. Mandodari had a face like moon, very beautiful, and he felt that must be Sita. So, having concluded that she was Sita, in a monkey style, Hanuman started jumping, kissing his tail and clapping his hands. Later on, after a second thought, he realized, how could it be? Sita is a chaste lady. She would not be sleeping in Ravan's room. Secondly, from her mouth, he could get the smell of wine. He knew Sita Maiya would not take any intoxication. So again he became sad, and he further continued his search for Sita Maiya. It is said by Acharyas, it is the motive which determines an act. It is virtuous or sinful. Hanuman's act of peeping into each and every room was virtuous because the motive was service to the Lord. And finally, it is that motive which determines whether this act is virtuous or sinful. On not finding Sita Maiya, Hanuman concluded that she must be dead. Either Ravan must have eaten her away, or some Rakshasas must have eaten away, or she must have died in lamentation, in sadness, in separation with Lord Ramchandraji. But on a second thought, he was thinking, Sampati had told that he could see Sita Maiya. So he had still a ray of hope. Hanuman thought, now without Sita Maiya, if I return to Ramchandraji and report this failure, Ram will die in separation, then Lakshman will die. On seeing Bharat and Shatrugna will also die. Because of their failure, Sugriv and Angad will also die. Then all the monkeys will die. So it's better I do not return if I do not have the news of Sita Maiya. So in a confused mind, Hanuman was sitting on the wall of Lanka. At that time, suddenly his sight went on Ashok Vatika. And he thought, might be I will search over there. I have not searched that place Might be Sita Maya might be there in the Ashok Vatika. So taking a similar form of monkey, started jumping from one tree to another. Finally, he found a lady sitting in an old dirty robe and lamenting, always in anxiety and exhausted. She was surrounded by many Rakshas women. Hanuman concluded, she must be Sita. And Hanuman wept tears of joy in finding Sita. In the meantime, it was early morning. And as usual, Ravan rose very early in the morning. And as soon as he would get up, he would think of only Sita. This is an example of one who is always thinking of his sense object. One who is involved in sense objects will think 24 hours only about those things. Ravan immediately, with 100 ladies and many queens, including Mandodari, went to see Sita Maya. Ravan praised her beauty and started calling her, "Hey beautiful lady, hey slender waist lady, why are you wasting your life like this? Accept me and you will enjoy life. I can give you whatever enjoyment you want in this earth, I can get it for you. And you are so beautiful. I do not find any happiness in my other wives after seeing you, not even in Mandodari." So lust was always burning inside him for Sita. Ram may be dead, or if he is alive, he can never come here. He was trying to convince Sita Maya. Sita first turned her face, covered her body with her sari, and kept a straw in between herself and Ravan. There are two reasons why Acharyas say that she had kept a straw in between Ravan and herself. First is the symbol of unwillingness. The second is it signified that Ravan was as insignificant as a straw for her. Sita said, "You will never be able to possess me. Turn back. Go away, Ravan." A fool who is dissatisfied with his own wife, seeking pleasure with the wife of others, is always doomed. Why are you so ignorant? Please accept good advices. Why are you determined on the destruction of the Rakshasas? She said, Ramchandra ji will one day come. Release me from your clutches, but destroy this entire Rakshas race. It is only a matter of time before Ram finds you out and kills you and all your wicked people. Ravan became very angry at this response of Sita. He told her, 10 months of that 1 year period which I gave you is already passed away. You are just left with 2 months more. In 2 months, either you surrender to me willfully, or else you will be my breakfast. I will have you cut and served for me as food. Sita Maya was trembling from inside, but she kept up her bold, courageous face. Seeing Ravan's anger, the queens all felt that they have to console him. He told the attendants, make her surrender to me or accept me at any cost. Thus saying, Mandodari came and embraced Ravan and said, why are you wasting your time beyond this foolish lady? come with us and enjoy life. Thus saying, the queens took Ravan away from that place. After Ravan left, all the Rakshasis came and started torturing Sita Maiya. Ekjata came and told, you better accept Ravan. He is Brahma's mentally conceived son of Pulasyas, and his son, Vishrava's son, is Ravan. So he is having a very good lineage. So what is the problem in accepting him? Another Rakshasi, Daimukhi, said, listen to your advice or you will have to face horrible death. Finding Sita adamant, the Rakshasis picked up spears, axes, knives and threatened her. They started circling around her. And Hanuman was watching from the top. Hanuman could see horrible Rakshasis. Some Rakshasis had lips up to their chin. Some had only one eye. Some were like Kabanda, whose head was inside the stomach. They were all looking horrible. Sita was cursing herself to be unfortunate. And when will Ram come to save her? And started bursting into tears and started crying. Oh Rama, oh Rama. Suddenly, an elderly Rakshasi called Trijata intervened and told all the Rakshasis, calm down, please stop this. I have seen a dream today, and where Ram comes and saves Sita and kills all the Rakshasas. She added, I saw Ram, Sita, Lakshman flying through the air, through the north in the Pushpak chariot. Ravan was shaved headed, his body smeared with red sandalwood paste, riding in a chariot drawn by asses and drinking oil. He was laughing like a mental person, heading towards hell. Kumbhakaran and the sons of Ravan are in the same way, but only one person has survived, and that is Vibhishan. Finally, Lanka crumbles and falls in the sea. So stop troubling Sita Maiya. Thus saying, she pushed away all the Rakshasis. Hearing this, Sita felt better and tells, if it would come true, I will save you from the wrath of Rama. She promised her that if this dream comes true, she will protect Trijata from the wrath of Rama. Trijata was the daughter of Vibhishan. And then suddenly Sita was afraid. If Ravan kills me before Rama arrives, what will happen to me? So she tried to kill herself rather than dying in the hands of Ravan. She was putting her hair round the neck and trying to commit suicide. Hanuman thinking was how to reveal himself in front of Sita Maiya. Because if he had immediately jumped in front of her, she would have shouted and all the Rakshasas would have intervened. Hanuman intelligently started thinking, what if I talk in Sanskrit with Sita? But then she will think Ravana can also speak very nice Sanskrit. So might be it is Ravana come in the disguise of a monkey. Secondly, if I talk in Awadhi language, the language talked in Ayodhya, how will she believe a monkey speaking? Finally, hiding in the Ashoka tree, Hanuman finally thought of a nice plan. He started praising or singing the glories of the Lord, right from the birth of Lord Ramchandraji to his exile. And thus, when he was singing the praise of the Lord, Sita Maiya started wondering, from where is this voice coming? And when she looked up, she saw a monkey. and she was thinking whether I am dreaming or whether I am hallucinated. How come seeing a monkey singing the praises of the Lord? Then she thought, seeing a monkey in the dream is not a good omen. So she was confused. Finally, she braved some courage and looked ahead, and Hanuman slowly came down in front of her, and he said, again he started singing the glories of Lord Ramchandraji. Sita Maiya realized it would definitely not be Ravan, because Ravan can never sing the glories of the Lord. Hanuman paid his obeisances and said, Mata, why are you suffering in this place? Come, I am come from Ramchandraji to give you this message that he is searching for you. Immediately Sita said, Ravan has just given me 2 months more to live. If Ramchandraji does not come before that time, then I will voluntarily give my life. Then, to test Hanuman, Sita said, please tell me the story of how you met Ramchandraji. Also describe to me in full detail the bodily features of Ram and Lakshman. She wanted to confirm whether he was truly sent by Ramchandraji. Also, she was very happy to listen to the glories of Lord after a long time. Hanuman gave the features and color of Ram and Lakshman and how he met. He told Sita Maiya how he met her at Rishimukh Parvat, under what circumstances, and then the beauty of Lord Ramchandraji. Ram has eyes that resemble lotus petals. He has broad shoulder and mighty arms, and his neck is shaped like a conch shell. His eyes are copper, and his voice is like the sound of a kettle drum. He is solid in 3 places: his breast, waist, and fist. He is elevated at 3 places: his chest, rim of his navel, and his abdomen. Lakshman is golden in color, and Ramchandraji is greenish in color. Thus, in a very vivid and a nice manner, Hanuman explained all the details of and bodily features of the Lord. Sita Maiya was now convinced that he was indeed the messenger sent by her husband, and started shedding tears of joy. Hanuman took this opportunity and gave Sita Maiya the ring which Lord Ramchandraji had given to him, with his name inscribed on the inside. On seeing this, Sita Maiya immediately remembered her Lord. Sita Maiya again and again was telling him to tell the urgency of this matter to Lord Ramchandraji. She had just had 2 months left. On that, she was wondering, how could this entire army come and everything would happen within 2 months? Hanuman immediately suggested, if you like, I will immediately deliver you to Ramchandraji by carrying you to Kishkinda on my back. Sita said, your proposal seems quite likely like a monkey. Hanuman felt offended, and he revealed his gigantic form. You don't think me to be a very meek monkey? Hanuman tells, if you want, I will carry entire Lanka. Sita Maiya admits to his power and his gigantic rupa. She tells him, please become small again. But then she tells, if you are going to carry me, what if I fall down in the sea, or some Rakshasa attacks me on the way? If you manage to kill the Rakshasas, that would diminish the glory of Lord Ramchandraji. So, lastly, Sita Maiya says, I do not want to be touched by another person other than Ramchandra ji. I was helpless when I was kidnapped by Ravan, but now I have a choice. So I will wait for Lord Ramchandra ji to come and release me from this prison. Hanuman immediately said, fine, I will go and give this message to Lord Ramchandra ji. But then he asked, Sita Maiya, I want some proof to give to Ramchandra ji that I have met you. Something which is very, very confidential, and I can tell that matter to Ramchandra ji. Sita then tells the confidential story of what happened with them when they were once in Chitrakoot. Ramchandra ji was lying on the lap of Sita Maiya in the Chitrakoot mountain. Suddenly, Jayant, Indra's son, came in the form of a crow and attacked Sita Maiya. Somehow Sita Maiya took some lump of mud and threw at the crow, but the crow did not go. And again he came and attacked her and picked her at her breast. And blood started coming out. Seeing this, Ramchandra ji became very angry. He asked Sita Maiya, which is that crow which has troubled you and caused pain to you? On identified by Sita Maiya, Ramchandra ji took a blade of grass and with some mantras made it as powerful as a Brahmastra and sent it behind the crow. The crow was running here and there, but everywhere the crow went, the Brahmastra was behind it. Finally, the crow came and surrendered, that is, Jayant came and surrendered to Lord Ramchandra ji himself. Ramchandra ji said, fine, I forgive you because you have come and surrendered to me. This is the quality of Lord. Whenever some living entity, even he may be an offender, but if he comes and surrenders to the Lord, Lord immediately forgives him, but with a small punishment. So Lord said, fine, I will forgive you, but what about this Brahmastra which I have already released? It will not go waste. So finally he directed it to the eye of the crow. That is why even to this day it is said crows are blind by one eye. They can see with only one eye. This is a common thing which is told by elders. So, thus saying this confidential story of Jayant, Sita Maiya gave a very deep description of it. She says, when Ramchandra ji used a Brahmastra against a crow, why doesn't he attack Ravan? Doesn't he love me anymore? Hanuman assured Sita Maiya of Ram's feeling in separation and how much he was also missing her. Sita Maiya finally gives a jewel of her hair, which is called as Chudamani, and tells, when Ram sees this jewel, he will remember three persons. It was given to me by my mother as a dowry gift in the presence of Rama and his father. Show this as a proof to Lord Ramchandra ji. Sita wondered how Ram and Lakshman and the monkeys would cross the mighty sea and reach over Lanka to protect her. Here Hanuman very humbly says, all the monkeys in the Ram's army are stronger and heroic than me. In fact, I am the most weakest and the smallest monkey in the army. And that is the reason I have been sent as a messenger. Definitely, a great hero is not sent as a messenger. A very insignificant person in the army is only sent as a messenger. So he tells Sita Maiya, if I, being so insignificant, can be so powerful and could reach here and could find you out, just imagine how powerful the army is. You may think it's a small monkey army, but it's a very, very powerful army. Thus saying this, Sita Maya again reminded him that the time is short. Please, at the earliest possible chance, ask Ramchandra ji to come and save me. Hanuman thought, I have to ascertain the true strength of the Rakshasas. Therefore, I shall destroy Ashok Vatika, just to provoke anger in Ravan. In this way, the Rakshasas will attack me and I will destroy some and get an actual idea of the military power of the enemy. Thus saying this, Hanuman created a big havoc in the Ashok Vatika. When the superintendent in charge of the Ashok Vatika came in front of Hanuman, Hanuman urinated in his mouth. He went and reported to Ravan. Ravan said, you have come to inform me this news? Go and catch that monkey. Immediately, the Rakshasas were all running helter and skelter. Few Rakshasis who were guarding Sita Maya asked whether she knew the monkey. On seeing that they had seen Sita Maya talking to the monkey, so they thought Hanuman must be known to Sita Maya. But Sita Maya denied knowing and saying, who is Hanuman? I thought he must be some ferocious Rakshasa like you. And she did not show any signs of having known to her. When thus reported to Ravan, Ravan sent an army of 80,000 Rakshasas known as Kinkaras. Hanuman then grabbed an iron bar lying at the gate, and while flying, he proceeded to make a wholesale slaughter of the Rakshasas. And all the time shouting, victory to Rama, victory to Lakshmana, victory to the monkey army. He started killing the Rakshasas. Jambumali then arrived on a chariot drawn by donkeys. He fired arrows at Hanuman's face, causing a slight injury. Hanuman smashed the iron rod so hard that his head, leg, and chariot and the donkeys could no longer be distinguished amongst one another. When the Rakshasas immediately started showering arrows, Hanuman jumped to the sky, and innumerable arrows, Rakshasas, were struck by Hanuman's hands and feet, while others were torn to pieces by his nail. Many were crushed by the impact of Hanuman's chest and thigh on them. All the 7 of the chief minister's sons were finally killed by Hanuman. First, General Durdhara was killed by Hanuman. Then Virupaksha and Upaksha, they came to attack Hanuman with clubs and hitting him on his chest. Hanuman took a sal tree and killed both of them. In this way, all the Rakshasas were getting killed one by one. Hanuman, in fact, tore pieces of mountain peaks and threw it at the Rakshasas and killed them. Finally, Ravan, when he received the news, glanced at Aksha, his son, and Aksha immediately understood his father's glance. He immediately went to kill Hanuman. Finally, after a big war, Hanuman was wondering what a beautiful warrior Aksha was. But the only problem is, time was getting late. It was getting evening time, and Rakshasas become more powerful. But in the heart of heart, Hanuman was praising Aksha's fighting skills. Acharyas say, one's skills may be very nice, but then if used on the wrong side, for the wrong purpose, what is the use of the skill? Rather, if the same skill is used for the Lord, it is much better. Finally, Hanuman caught Aksa by his leg and flung him to the ground and killed him. But before killing him, there was a very ferocious war between him and Aksa. Hanuman again stationed himself at the archway of the Ashok Vatika and waiting. Ravan finally sent Indrajit. Indrajit first shot a Brahmastra at him. Hanuman had a benediction that no astra will affect him, because in the childhood all the devatas had given him this benediction, including Brahmaji. But to respect and see the city, he got bound by the Brahmastra, because finally he wanted to see the actual strength and the military power and also the orientation of the city. That was the main purpose of Hanuman, and so he voluntarily got bound to the Brahmastra and respecting it also. So finally Hanuman was bound in ropes and brought face to face in front of Ravan. All the ministers of Ravan started interrogating Hanuman. They questioned him again and again. Tell us, who are you? What is the purpose of your coming to Lanka? He said, I am a messenger of Sugriv, king of the Vanaras. Seeing Ravan, Hanuman thought, with Ravan's charm and presence of mind, courage, splendor, and auspicious body symptoms, he would surpass even Indra in glory and would be adverse to righteousness. Prastha, Ravana's minister, then assured Hanuman, if you simply tell us the real truth and the real reason for your coming here, we will let you go free. On that, Hanuman said, as a curious monkey, I have simply come here with the desire to meet Ravan. I knew that an insignificant person like me will not get an audience of Ravan, a king of this caliber. Therefore, I destroyed the pleasure garden, and with that hope, I got myself captured and brought before the royal assembly. I did not intend to harm anyone, but when the Rakshas warriors attacked me in self-defense, I killed them. Then, after further dialogues, he slowly released the actual reason. He disclosed the real reason, saying, I am Hanuman and I have been sent as an envoy of Lord Ramchandraji, the son of Dashratha, for searching Sita Maiya. He advised Ravan, please take my good advice, give Sita back to Ram before it is too late. On that, Acharyas say, Hanuman even offered, I will get you any woman in this world you want, please release Sita Maiya. I personally will go and get that lady for you, but release Sita Maiya. But Ravan was adamant. And enraged Ravan said, kill this monkey at once. Vibhishan advised, my dear brother, please do not do this. It is not proper to put a messenger to death. It is certainly against the Shastric scholars. And you, Ravan, you know the rules very well. You yourself are a great Shastric scholar. But Ravan was adamant. Vibhishan then argued, in the Shastra, there is no injunction that a messenger can be killed. Only mutilation of the limbs, flogging, shaving of the head, branding are the punishments that can be given to a messenger. Ravan agreed. Okay. A prized possession for a monkey is his tail. Set his tail on fire and parade Hanuman through the streets of Lanka. So the tail was put on fire And when Sita Maiya got this news, she prayed to Agni Devata. The fire on Hanuman's tail burned mild. He felt like ice. Hanuman slipped out and created havoc. He set Lanka into fire. Every house to house he was jumping, and he was putting each house on fire, except for one place, and that was Vibhishan's palace. It so happened on the night when he was searching from palace to palace for Sita Maiya, he realized Vibhishan was chanting Lord Ramchandraji's name. So he knew he was a devotee and he didn't want to create any trouble to him. But first, he had burnt off almost the entire Lanka. Hanuman then, after creating the entire devastation, jumped to the ocean and extinguished the fire which was put on his tail. Hanuman thought for a second, what if Sita Maiya was burnt in this fire? Acharyas say, uncontrolled anger is very dangerous. One should be very careful about his anger. A person under the sway of anger can murder his own guru, parents, or even insult a great soul. Only one who has learned to control his anger deserves to be called a human being. Hanuman repented for his mistake. Later he realized, by mercy of Lord Ramchandraji, when I am not burnt with the fire, what to speak about his consort Sita Maiya? After seeing Sita is unhurt, Hanuman prepared to leave Lanka. He climbed on the Arishta mountain and literally crushed the mountain in his takeoff back from Lanka to India. Hanuman reached back with a roaring sound. Jamban said, from judging from the enthusiasm inside Hanuman, it seems that the mission is successful. He tells Sita Maiya is alive and narrates the whole story. So with this, we would like to end today's session. In the next session, we will be hearing how they conveyed this message to Ramchandraji and how further on things happened. Hare Krishna.